Hello everybody, it's Philly Cuts with another Hump Day Haul, number 75. Holy cow, 3/4 of a way to 100, people. You know, where every week I get together with you, Wednesday, new comic book release day, and I talk to you about the new comics that I got. No big whoop. Alright, we got some great issues this week. Some big issues from DC, I believe, at least 2 out of the 3 that I got. Alright, starting with Harleen Quinzel, Harley Quinn, number 25. Yes, this is a big issue, folks. This is a big issue. First, a little bit of backstory. Harley Quinn needs to break her boyfriend, well, her love interest, Mason Macabre, out of jail. Well, he was in jail, but he ended up getting transferred by the corrupt mayor's staff to Arkham Asylum in Gotham. Now, lo and behold, it turns out that Mason, his cell in Arkham Asylum, is next to the Joker's. Now, we all know that Harley Quinn, her origins are born from the Joker. Her connections to the Joker are tight, very tight. I think it was Batman Adventures, you know, the cartoon that used to be on, I think, WB way back in the day. I think it's over 20 years ago now, where Harley Quinn made her debut. She was working at Arkham Asylum, I believe, as an intern, you know, a psychiatrist intern named Harleen Quinzel, like I mentioned in the beginning, and it turned out that one of her patients was the Joker. And she ended up falling for the Joker, you know, because the Joker has that charm, and history was written. Now, the thing is, in this issue, the writers, Amanda Conner, Jimmy Palmiotti, they take this subject seriously, the past relationship between the Joker and Harley Quinn. You know, nonetheless, it was essentially an abusive relationship, if we think about it. It certainly is. The Joker was so manipulative, had so much power over Harley Quinn. He was abusive. He would hit her, just do terrible things to her, physically, psychologically, emotionally. And this issue does not shy away from it. The writing does not shy away from it. And it is huge. So this is the first time, at least in, you know, DC New 52, post New 52, that Harleen Quinzel and the Joker meet up again. And Harley Quinn, I'll tell you, just is not having it with the Joker. She is pissed. She does not want to put up with his shit ever again. And it is intense. It's about 8 to 10 pages of these two having quite a bit of conversation with one another, and it does not go well. I'm not going to tell you exactly what happens, but here's some of the panels. There they are meeting together with each other in that cell in Arkham Asylum, and it has quite a bit of back and forth, and the dialogue, I read this before I did the haul, was tremendous. Tremendous. So I want to give big props out to the writers, you know, Conner, Palmiotti. Amazing. Amazing. And I don't know if the relationship between those two will ever be the same again. But I think also it signifies, it's kind of symbolic, that Harley Quinn is a series that is able to stand on her own too, has been able to stand on her own too. And it really has become one of DC's most successful franchises. And I just appreciate the direction that they've gone in with Harleen. She's been, you know, more bizarre as of late, tougher, more erratic, but still holding on to, you know, that funny cutting edge to her. You know, she's not too over the top or too scary, but she does show flashes of that. And I've really enjoyed this series. You do get a lot for your money. You get your money's worth, I feel, with this comic. There's always a ton of dialogue to read. The one thing, I guess, in this issue, kind of the whole her saving Mason from Arkham Asylum kind of really gets brushed aside because of the whole Joker thing. But that's really the only complaint I have about the issue. There is some sexy interplay between Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, that's like her best friend, in the beginning. Pretty amazing stuff. And I wonder, have any of you guys out there started reading the Poison Ivy miniseries? If so, let me know how it is. I know that issue 2 came out. I missed issue 1. Thinking about trade waiting on that, picking that up in trades. All right, another big issue for DC. Mr. Colin Bunn, the writing continues to amplify and increase in greatness for Sinestro. If there's one thing that Colin Bunn does right, is writing a villain story. He has also done work on Magneto, which I heard is very well received. I've never read Magneto, but I know from Sinestro, the story gets better and better. And in this, he finally has the showdown with the leader of the Paling, the Pale Bishop. Okay, the Paling is this anti-emotion religious sect in the universe. They basically want to kill or take control of all sentient beings that have or showcase emotion. So pretty scary stuff, because we know that the Lanterns are completely fueled by their emotions. Sinestro core, fear. Yellow is fear. Will Sinestro's power and harnessing of fear be enough to take over the Pale Bishop? Now, the cool thing is, in this issue, you do get some great backstory on who the Pale Bishop once was, who he was associated with, who he became. I'll show you a panel here, and it's probably going to give a lot of stuff away. But hey, man, I like to give you guys a little bit of information, sometimes some spoilers. But this sequence here shows some great stuff about who the Pale Bishop once was and what circles he used to run under. But even more amazing in this issue is that it really shows the psychology of Sinestro in this issue, kind of what he's going through, preparing for this battle, him overcoming his own fears. He does have quite a few flashbacks in this issue where he's talking about past hardships that he's been through. Certainly the destruction of Korger, his home planet, the death of his great friend Aaron Sur, and also his exile from the Green Lanterns. So they show some really sweet panels of that as well, which is great, man. I mean, if you guys think that Jeff Johns wrote a good Sinestro, you know, if I think he did, what, the Sinestro War and all that good stuff, you really got to check out Colin Bunn, because I think that Colin Bunn kind of digs even deeper and almost shows a great deal of vulnerability to Sinestro. And I don't know how many people are buying this title. I mean, I know that some of the other comic book people that I interact with on here do buy Sinestro, but I feel like not enough, man. I feel like that this book is just not on people's radar. Another great thing that Sinestro did in this was that he created his own brand of Manhunters. They're like golden yellow. And he utilized them to recruit various A-list, triple A-list superheroes to, help him fight off this Paling. Superman he recruited Wonder Woman. He did recruit some villains as well. Scarecrow, right? That perfect fit for fear. Harley Quinn, I think that's Deathstroke. The only disappointment that I had with that was that I would have liked to have seen more of their interactions as becoming a Yellow Lantern, right? Seeing Scarecrow, what he could have done, what kind of constructs he could have made. Or Harley Quinn, how more off-the-wall crazy she could have been. I was a little bit disappointed, it was kind of light on that. Now, I'm wondering how the continuity is going to go with this. Obviously, in Sinestro, Sinestro has risen to such power because the Green Lanterns have all been shifted to another universe and another time. But Green Lantern, I don't know, he's about to face the Parallax. So I'm wondering if they could kind of merge all these events together. Could you imagine like a triple threat match between Parallax, Sinestro, or actually a four-way match? Parallax, Green Lantern, Sinestro, and the Paling? That would be fucking crazy, dude. Crazy. So I think it has some potential to go to some great, great places, and I'm really looking forward to it. All right, my third book this week from DC, Martian Manhunter, number 9. Now, one of the biggest complaints that people have about Martian Manhunter is his sheer plethora of superpowers and abilities. Pretty much you name it, he can do it. And it expands even further in this issue. If you look on the cover here, it looks like Martian Manhunter is a giant robot, and that's because he has to do battle against the chief antagonist of Mars. I'm not going to be able to say this dude's name right because it's spelled all wacky. Mal Alafiaka. He's this evil-looking dude. He kind of reminds me of like a Red Lantern-type character. He has to do battle against this evil, sinister-looking dude, and he becomes a giant robot. He kind of like inherits the lifeblood, the soul of the Martian city, the traveling city, and he becomes fucking Voltron. So just add that to his shape-shifting abilities. It just grows and grows. Now, the interesting thing, too, about this book, if you've been reading Martian Manhunter, you know that he's kind of divided himself up into these different personas while he was on Earth because he needed to get certain things done. All these personas have yet to merge together back to Martian Manhunter, if that's even what's going to happen, such as Mr. Biscuits, the police guy, whose name I can't recall because you guys know that I am the worst with names. But they have a lot of reservations about what's been going on. It's Daryl Wessel here. Actually, I found his name. Hopefully that will shift in there. But they have concerns, you know, like what has been their role in all of this? What are they to do? You know, now that after Martian Manhunter John Jones created this blood ceremony to create a living Mars and Earth to merge together both into the same time and space, but essentially he's about to commit 2 major forms of genocide. So these other Martian Manhunter people, they want to know what the fuck's up, man. What's going on? You know? If I'm having a hard time looking into the camera, it's because I had to take my contacts out and I can't freaking see. All right, 2 books this week from Marvel. I can't say enough good things about Spider-Woman number 4. This is written by Dennis Hopeless, who's done a tremendous job. And the artwork of Javier Rodriguez, which I'm going to get to, just keeps getting better and better. We all know, if we've been reading this, that Miss Drew is pregnant and she's about to give birth, you know. So her friend Captain Marvel says to her, why don't you go to this place that Alpha Flight runs? It's out in the middle of the universe. It's in a black hole. It's a top-notch, you know, maternity ward type place. You can get some top-notch prenatal care there as well. So Miss Drew's like, yeah, I need some help with that. I gotta, you know, learn to take it easy, and I want to make sure my baby's gonna be born okay. She takes her up on that offer. But it turns out that this place gets invaded by Skrulls, a rebel group of Skrulls. Now, why have they invaded this place run by the Alpha Flight? Well, it turns out that there's this 13-year-old Skrull prince, this little dude here, who's just so kind of likable, man. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Rocky Dennis from Mask. See if anybody out there knows that movie reference. They want to kidnap him. These rebels want to kidnap him and use him to kind of influence their own power, make a power play on the rest of Skrull society. But it turns out, you know, Spider-Woman's a good woman. She catches wind of this, and she helps this little dude out. But during all the chaos of trying to fend off the Skrulls and help this little dude, she ends up going into labor, people. And they have a tremendous scene here when she's going into labor. The conversation that she's having with the doctors is great. Talking about epidurals and all kinds of medications and stuff. Her fears that the baby has possibly been born stillborn. turns out that baby comes out. And this is where the artwork just really, really shines, people. I mean, it is just great when that baby pops out and she catches wind. Different emotions. And then I love that face right there. The scrunched up, angry face. She's like, sew me up. I got work to do. And then she immediately goes back to kicking Skrull ass. And this is just one of the best freaking montage panels I've ever seen of ass kickery in comic book history, at least in my mind. It is just tremendous. I know my camera is not doing any justice, but it is just phenomenal, man. And I think that I'm just loving the whole aspect of Spider-Woman being pregnant and having to carry this baby to term, trying to cut back on the work, but it's just such a calling for her that she has difficulty doing that. And now that the baby's been, brought to term, given birth to, I want to see how the series turns. How is she going to be able to handle that, superhero stuff along with motherhood? Because let's face it, all those good mothers out there, you guys are superheroes. And I know that that was really cheesy and sappy, but it's true. It's true. Never underestimate the effect of a good mother, Just never. All right, super screw up, because it's Star Wars number 16. Brand new story about a rebel prison. Now, this takes place immediately after the events of the Vader Down series. Last issue, we actually had a buffer issue, which shifted back to the Obi-Wan Chronicles. And you saw some interesting things that happened between Obi-Wan and Uncle Owen, Luke's uncle, and the reservations that they had with one another about raising Luke. This new story arc, Rebel Jail, so if you want to hop on board, now's the time. After Vader Down, one of the big things that happened was that the Rebels were able to capture Darth Vader's archaeologist sidekick, Dr. Aphra, who I've really enjoyed. One of the new characters that I really like. She's freaking awesome. They end up capturing her. So this is Princess Leia bringing her back to prison, the Rebel prison, which is deep within the galaxy. It's called Sunspot Prison, and it's because it's literally very, very close to Yellow Sun. They show a sequence here of what that kind of looks like, where the prison is, them transporting to the prison, and there's all kinds of evil scum in this prison. They said we've got war criminals, imperial spies, mercenaries, even a Moff or two, so all kinds of nefarious characters in there. Princess Leia is hooked up with Sana Starros, who, if you've been reading this, was actually once Han Solo's wife, or at least pretend wife. Read the back issues if you want to get the whole story on that. But, pretty cool that Darth Vader is not going to waste any time trying to get Aphra out of prison. Or at least maybe bounty hunters aren't. And we get introduced to another new character who is going to try to break Lady Aphra out of prison. Now, there's also another little side story in here with Luke and Han Solo. They're kind of on a mission for the Rebels to pick up supplies. Han Solo ends up dicking around and doing all kinds of gambling and shit. And, goody two-shoes Luke is always up in his ass being like, well, what are you doing, Han? You shouldn't be doing that. They've trusted us to do this mission. I don't know. It just seems a little bit tacked on. But it'll be interesting to see where this goes. It's going to be interesting to see this battle play out. These dudes trying to break Aphra out of the prison. So we'll see how it goes. And like I said, I enjoy the Star Wars book when it is exploring new material. I felt that the Vader Down thing ultimately was a disappointment, was a letdown, because look, the series, the Star Wars comic and the Vader comic takes place between New Hope, Empire Strikes Back. So we know that if they're going to be loyal to that story, we all know that Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker don't meet until the end of Empire Strikes Back. So the whole Vader down thing, you know, both of them crash landing on the same planet, and then both of them kind of looking for each other, was a bit anticlimactic, because you know that if they're going to stick to the true story, they can't possibly meet and get into a showdown. And, it is what it is, right? So let's hope it goes in a new direction, and that direction will be better. And I have high hopes for that. Okay, Steve Man, Dark Horse, number 5. This is just like a straight-up fucking torture issue. This is issue number 5 of 5. The Steam Men, the crew of the Steam Men, caught wreck against the Dark Rider. He's this evil-looking, nefarious character who is in control of a time machine. And if you've read H.G. Wells' Time Machine, you are aware of the Morlock creatures. There's the guy right there. He has control of those beings as well. He created his own giant robot. The Steam Man is a giant, you know, steam-powered robot, as the name implies. The Dark Rider had his own version made of sticks and stones, and it did break down the Steam Man. It actually ended up killing 2 of their crew in the last issue, 2 out of the 4-man crew. The remaining surviving members were Feather, who was a Native American tracker. He ended up getting crucified in an upside-down cross, of all things. Brutal stuff in here, man. I mean, straight-up crucified. And then you had Captain, oh God, what's his name? Beetle. Captain Beetle ends up being tortured, straight-up tortured, by the Dark Rider. He literally is getting his nails pulled out by a pair of pliers, and this goes on for several panels, man. It's pretty vicious. Straight up brutality here, Mortal Kombat. No babalities in here, people. I mean, this is just brutal, brutal, and it's very, you know, succinct and to the point. The artwork of Peter Kowalski, who's my favorite. He did a lot of work on the Nightbreed series. Makes things look great, man. Along with the shading of Kelly Fitzpatrick, who I'm noticing does quite a bit of issues that I buy. Almost as much as Dave Stewart. But it has a good ending. It kind of delves into the thought process of the Dark Rider, what he was kind of after. And it kind of sets up for a sequel. So we'll see if this continues in another story arc, another story, place, and time. And I want to give props out to Feather, the Native American tracker, because he was able to undo himself from the upside-down cross, people. Reminds me of Solomon Kane, man. That movie, it's on Amazon Video right now. Solomon Kane was able to work himself out of being crucified, and I just can't imagine the pain that one must have to endure to be able to get through that. I just, gets me all twitchy thinking about it. All right, Joshua Williamson, Birthright, number, what, 14? Great cover, man. That's his mom. That's Brennan's mom and Mikey's mom, along with the otherworldly mom, whose name I forget. Sorry. It looks like they're in Times Square. Now, in the last issue, Mikey ended up getting the shit beat out of him by Samuel. This guy just totally wrecked Mikey, and it was pretty new to see that happen because Mikey has pretty much been kicking ass. There he is, the Conan the Barbarian looking guy. He's been kicking ass pretty much throughout this series. Interesting thing happens in here. His brother Brennan, they end up kind of having a fallout. You know, Brennan has always felt, well, I wouldn't say always, but at least the last 2 or 3 issues, he's always kind of felt that Mikey's been holding something back. You know, he's keeping these kind of dark, evil secrets from him. And it comes to a boil here. It comes to a fester. And he tells him straight up, I'm sick of it, man. Sick of it. In Mikey's weakened state, Brennan's able to push him down like that. There's also some good interactions in here between Mikey's father and the lead criminal investigator of the case, who ended up being a creepy bad guy. I don't want to ruin too much. I don't want to cause too many spoilers if you haven't read this, but definitely a big turn on that. And it will be interesting to see where this goes, how Mikey and Brennan's relationship is going to be from here on in. Is Mikey going to end up being more truthful to him? What is going to happen between this otherworldly agent and Mikey's father? That doesn't look good, does it? It'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting to see where this goes. I think there's one more issue, and then this concludes, I think, the third story arc already. So this is moving pretty quick. I'm not sure how many issues this story is going to be, but Joshua Williamson has certainly weaved an incredible tale of high fantasy, and I'm enjoying it all the way. Now, all right, I got a new issue, a new book. I was curious about this book. It caught my eye. Snowfall, people. Look at that dude on the front cover. Now, he is able to control weather. And it says on the front here, Weather is a Weapon, 2045. That's the year in which this takes place. It's in my hometown, my area, upstate New York. Now, when I saw this, I was like, damn, I really got to get this. They're giving, my area some props here. New Mercy Settlement, upstate New York, 2045, where apparently it has not snowed naturally for over 10 years. And because of this, evil corporations have, started to control and manipulate the weather. And who knows what type of corruption will occur with that. Because it hasn't snowed in so long, it's caused a lot of droughts. It's caused war. I mean, I really think that in the future, climate change is going to be a serious, serious issue. And I think that one day we may be in a world where one of the most important things to fight over is going to be, not oil or gas or gold, precious metals. It's going to be stuff like water. And who's going to be able to control the water? I mean, I know here in the United States, where I live right now, a bunch of stories are coming out, especially in Flint, Michigan, where the water systems have been contaminated by lead and other pollutants because our infrastructure is literally crumbling. Literally crumbling. Now, I think that's one thing that we need to work on. I don't mean to get all political and stuff, but that's definitely an issue. I know right here in the Albany area, Hoosick Falls, there's some major issues with the water. And I know even where I work the other day, a couple streets were closed because a water main broke. So I can only imagine what that must be like. This guy is the White Wizard. He's kind of part myth, part badass. It's going to be real interesting to see how this plays out. This is written by Joe Harris, and the artwork is by Martin Morazzo. It almost reminds me of Kowalski a little bit, the artwork. The good thing, too, is that this is a first issue, and Image gives you about 32 or 33 pages, no advertisements, for $4, which is pretty good. I would have liked, I know when Wolf came out and a few other titles, I think Monstrous, those first issues were like 66 pages for $5. I would have loved a deal like that, but, I like to support Image when they do stuff like this, and I kind of wish that the big two would do more stuff like that, but unfortunately they don't. So I'll keep you guys posted. We'll see. I do have some high hopes for how this story will go, and I'll let you guys know. But I thought it was an interesting, kind of social commentary on climate change and weather. And if you listen to Alex Jones on the radio, man, he's saying that the weather is already being controlled by the government. Like when you look up and you see those planes and you always see the big white trails of smoke going behind the plane, water vapor, whatever you want to call it. According to Alex Jones, That's the government trying to change the jet stream. Yeah, Alex Jones. Okay. All right, Kelly Sue McConaughey. We got Bitch Planet number 7 to round it out. I'll be honest, people, I haven't been reading this. I'm behind an issue. But this has been the bridger comic between me and my girlfriend. Because my girlfriend does not read comics except for Bitch Planet. I introduced her to Bitch Planet, and she loves it. She loves it. And I read issues 1 through 5. I loved it as well. I know that in the last issue, one of the main characters, Meiko, ended up getting killed. I believe it was during the game, during a sporting contest against the prison guards in the prison that they were in. It turns out in this issue, it deals with the fallout of that death. I gotta read this shower scene, people, because it's Penny Roll, my favorite character, big, black, and beautiful, and bad, the quadruple B. She's in the shower, all broken up about her friend dying. She kind of blames herself. I don't know if she didn't make a tackle or something, or didn't fucking block up the middle. Something happened. Something happened, people. Penny Roll's feeling guilty. Her friend's there to comfort her. But the other storyline here, and I'm not sure if this is him, but Meiko's father, this guy named Mako, M-A-K-O, he is an architect who is designing a football stadium for this contest. I forget what the name of the... it's called Megaton. The game is called Megaton. Architect Makoto Makai is recruited by the government to design a new Megaton stadium on the prison planet. He is traveling to the ACO, that's the name of the prison, in hopes of seeing his daughter. So he does not know that she is dead. So that's going to be really interesting to look. I am still in possession of issue number 6 because my girlfriend left it here. So I'm definitely going to read both of these issues. The other great thing is they're always poking fun at the patriarchy here. And that's another thing that I do love about the series. And they do give you some scholarly reading and articles in the back, like vulnerability and the strong black female archetype. So if you kind of want to catch up on a little bit of reading, a little bit of politics in the back here, this is the book for you. And I like that because then you don't feel like you know, are done reading your comic book in 10 minutes and you actually may learn something. I think, yes, this could be labeled as a feminist comic, but I have never felt like when I was reading Bitch Planet like I was being preached to or talked down to or made to feel bad. I think the way that Kelly Sue McConaughey has gone about doing this has been tremendous. And I do highly recommend the comic, even though I am a couple issues behind. Believe me, I am more backlogged on other issues other than Bitch Planet, far more. Can anyone say Arkham Knight? All right, anyway, guys, that's been another comic book haul. Let me give you a cover of the week this week. Oh, boy, this is going to be tough. None of these covers really stood out to me. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my God. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm going to go with Spider-Woman being all sorts of pregnant, going into labor on the wall. Yeah. All right, dudes. Let me know what you're liking, what you're disliking. Peace. Bye.